Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this recap video I'm going to talk about some of the major weighted sectors in our futures contracts and how important these sectors are to being a futures trader. And one of the sectors that's been hit politically and specifically particularly hard this week is healthcare. And we can see what it's done to S&P, what it's done to, think about where. Let me show you here for a moment, because this is something we do every day in the chat room, which is we look at the weighting of individual sectors. Number 2 in the S&P, number 4 in the Nas, number 5 on the Dow. This is a sector that has some really impactful price action, and it's been hit very, very hard. Names that have been trending higher like Merck, Abbott, names like TMO, Thermo Fisher, names like Lilly, names that have been very predictably and beautifully trend following higher, have just really been shellacked as of late. And when I see a market like this that's being hit by political concern, and really the reality and the proximity of any of the issues that the market initially sold healthcare off on are so far down the line, so far from being a reality near term, I have to start to think there are folks out there that are starting to step back and say, where can we buy? And for me, that means I start looking at, you guessed it, I start looking at those flows. I'm going to start looking at the volume. I'm going to be looking at volume. I'm going to be looking at volume plus price, and you know what that means. I'm going to be looking at some point of control numbers, but mostly an anchored volume weighted average price. And so a lot of you know I've been talking about anchored volume weighted price, average price, looking at the VWAP really a lot over the last year, especially with the kind of volatility we've seen. I think it really kicked off with some of the earlier volatility we saw in the index futures. This has been something we've been sort of coming back to for the better part of about 2 years now, because we've been seeing a sudden and increased volatility in the market. And this is one of the best ways to understand how to gauge that, the volume weighted average price. And not so coincidentally, it gives us a better idea of where the big money flows are going to be. That's what I'm going to start to look at. And that's something that I'll be covering up both here in the recap video and the premium video, because when I put that watch list together, gang, I will 100% let you all know. But I want everyone to start thinking about what are those names that were doing so well, boom, before the breakdown. Is that UNH? Oh, heck no. Leave that thing alone. Was it Pfizer? Nope. Was it Abbott? Yeah. Was it Merck? Yeah. Was it MTD? Was it Medtronic? MDT? No. Amgen? No. AbbVie? Heck no. Lilly? Yes. Thermo Fisher Scientific? Yes. Bristol Myers Squibb? No. Right, so right away you've got a pretty good idea of what I'm thinking about in terms of what that relative performance watch list is going to look like. And it's going to be prioritizing those names. So those are where specifically I'm going to spend some time breaking down some of these concepts of where could flow be coming in, where am I going to be able to notice the zone that could lift the market. And by the way, this isn't just a stock and sector conversation, because when XLV starts to head up higher, we know that it's going to have the ability to start to move the broader averages higher. So this isn't just about stocks in the individual sector, but what is that sector going to have from an impact basis on the broader average, most especially in the S&P. So think about individual stocks, think about individual sectors, think about the opportunities in those names, and then start to think like a trader who understands multiple asset classes. The entire market is your playground, gang, and that's what I want to be able to present to you, day after day. Can you trade futures? You got it. Sectors? Absolutely. Individual stocks, currencies, everything, if there's liquidity, should be part of potentially your watch list. Put healthcare on it, and I'll see you in the next update.